Ready?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Louise.
And hi, I'm Emma.
And you're listening to Murder or Myth.
The true crime podcast where not everything is true.
The aim of the game is to find out whether the story is actually a murder or if it's just a myth.
Now, let's get started.
Hi Emma, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Louise. How are you?
I'm good.
That's great.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Hi Emma, how are you?
I'm really happy, Louise, thank you. How are you?
Delighted for you.
Thank you.
For episode 39, I will be telling Emma about the Caswell family, who committed 10 murders from the period of 1842 to 1848. Okay?
Old 1842?
Yeah. The family moved to Hartwyth, North Carolina in 1840, but no one knew where they had moved from, and they didn't really share any information about themselves and kept mostly to themselves.
Okay.
Except the eldest daughter, Lillian Caswell, who was said to be very appeasing and captivating.
Right.
So Lillian would invite people into the house for tea, despite most people being terrified of this family. She had managed to lure people in over the years. Not terrified, but there's rumours going around about them and stuff. Yeah, apprehensive. So she had managed to lure people in over the years. Some people had left and spoke about how pleasant and misjudged the family really were, and others were said to have disappeared.
Was there any basis to the apprehension? Was it this
Apart from the fact that people had disappeared, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That was the main basis. So there were no police in the town, but the chief for the surrounding area, Barnaby John Sanford, was leading the investigation into these disappearances. So Chief Sanford paid monthly visits to the family home, and he was said to have been friends with the parents, Elizabeth and George Caswell, and he never made a case against them for the disappearances that were happening. Okay?
Okay, so is he in with them?
Potentially. Over the 6 years, 10 people had disappeared, with only 2 of the bodies having been discovered and confirmed dead in 1848. So the bodies were found by 2 young kids in a woods near the Caswell house, as well as a belonging of George Caswell's close by.
Okay.
So eventually, after these bodies were found, the parents were finally put on trial, as it was known that these people had visited the house shortly before their deaths/disappearances. So on the night before the trial, the house went up in flames, and it was said to have been started by a candle, but no one knows whether it was done by the family themselves, if it was an accident, although hardly coincidental timing.
Yeah.
Or if it was an act of vengeance by someone in the town. So it was said that the parents had 9 children, but there were only records for 5 of the kids, and it was suspected that the rest had been taken by the family, either from this town, Hartwyth, or from prior to 1842.
Okay.
So there were 3 theories of thought as to why the Caswells were not put on trial before this point. So Jane Lisbury, who was a friend of Lillian's in school, the eldest daughter, had gone to the house and spoke of a deserted home and an apparition of Elizabeth Caswell. So it was thought that the mother had died and resided as a phantom presence in the house, and because she could not have any more children as she always wanted, George and Lillian would lure children into the home as a way to honour their dead mother and have a bigger family.
Okay.
Okay?
Was their dad there?
Yeah, Dad is there.
Okay.
This train of thought also assumed that she had a fear over Chief Sanford, and this is why he never convicted against the family, because he was afraid of being haunted by her, I guess.
Oh, right, okay.
Now, the next thought is that George Caswell was blackmailing Chief Barnaby, as George's brother was the Director General of Police in North Carolina, and that these monthly visits could have been payment or some kind of arrangement.
Oh, right.
And the last train of thought is that these disappearances never really happened and were made up by Alice Beekman, who was a widowed woman in the town and Lillian's teacher. She was said to be enamoured with George Caswell and wanted to get Elizabeth punished and out of the way.
Oh.
And this theory, a bit odd, but kind of makes sense. People think it's maybe the most realistic as to why no one in the families of those who were disappearing were kind of making a scene about it.
Yeah.
So
she just made it up.
That she just made it up.
But then are the people really disappeared?
No, there was no people who disappeared.
She made them up as well. What about the 2 bodies they found?
Yeah, I don't know actually. Yeah, that was true.
Yes. Okay. So maybe
just a
found
different
2
cause?
bodies and then she just made up more.
Yeah, Maybe went off it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Damn, okay. That's the end of my story either way.
Okay, again, I'm like, could it either be a murder or a myth? I guess that's the entire thing of the podcast.
As if it's the premise.
It's an oldie, ghosts and stuff. Yeah, that's plausible. Like, any of those options that you just gave were, like, options that would be of the time. I'm like, would you have wrote all those options? The body versus the disappearance thing, that could just be an anomaly in the story. Like, I feel like you handled that question well. You
handle all questions well.
You didn't give away if it was a murder or a myth. I'd rather not be wrong again, but
So fair.
I'm gonna say murder again. I mean, prior to 2 weeks ago's episode, but yeah, I'm gonna say murder. There's a lot of detail there, you know, lots of things going on. Everything seemed of the era. Barnaby, the sheriff's name, I was like, that's so 18
Barnaby.
whatever. So yeah, final answer, murder.
It's a myth.
Of course it is.
Didn't think about the two
Congrats.
bodies.
Okay, yeah.
But I was like, do you know what? I just wouldn't have read that, so I'm
Yeah,
just going to
fair.
go along with it as a, yeah.
You played it
I
off
didn't think it
well.
was the two bodies. It was like,
Yeah, no, I think everything in the story was well done.
thank you.
Well written. Sometimes, yeah.
Go for it.
Nope.
You
It's
honestly,
not a proper, it wasn't a proper, like, avenue.
okay,
Edit it out.
will do. I guess we'll wrap the story up there. Thanks for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe.
On this week's episode, I incorrectly guessed Louise's story was in fact a myth, and I guessed murder.
Find us on all streaming platforms.
Join us next week for another thrilling adventure.
Remember, it's myth until proven murder. Slay.
Slay.